2 weeks into the ongoing doctor strike across the country, health facilities which have acted as referral centers during the crisis are now feeling pressured. The situation at the 37 military hospital, for example, is dire as patients have to be treated on the bare floor because there are no more beds. Meanwhile, President John Dramani Mahama continues to remind doctors that their strike is illegal at the same time as his government has tabled fresh proposals to the Ghana Medical Association aimed at resolving the impasse. So how can this impasse be resolved if the vibe from the president always sounds confrontational to the GMA? Would the doctors give in to the numerous calls to return to work just so that we put an end to the needless loss of lives? This is today's big story with me, Stephen Enti. Now, Friday will be 3 weeks since doctors withdrew their services over stalled conditions of service negotiations. All this while, some quasi-government hospitals like the 37 military hospital and the police hospital have been overwhelmed as patients turned away from government hospitals end up there. But things are really getting bad for these hospitals. Our reporter Francis Aban visited the facility and reports patients are being treated on the bare floor because there are no more beds.
Today, I'm at the 37 military hospital, one of the two leading facilities that are offering alternatives for many patients who troop to the emergency and OPD centers of the public hospitals, Kolebu being the biggest one. I'm here in the company of the hospital administrator after we're learning that pressure is beginning to mount here at the 37 military hospital, with the officials struggling to take care of the huge numbers that they are accommodating now because of the strike. I'm in the company of the administrator of the 37 military hospital, Major Ebenezer Wilfred Tando. Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Are you fine today?
Very, very fine. By the grace of God. Yes, I am.
You are in charge of this hospital. Are things okay here?
Things generally, I would say it's okay. But I would like to correct an impression that you started by saying that tension is mounting. It's already mounted. Pressure has already mounted because of the strike action by our colleagues of the other hospitals.
I want us to break it down as we walk around, have a discussion about what's actually happening at the major wards here at 37. And we're starting from the maternity ward here because you find a lot of people coming with kids, you know, coming to deliver. And I see women sitting out here. What's the situation at this particular ward?
Yes, the situation at this particular ward is overwhelming. For want of an appropriate word, it is overwhelming. But we are still not giving up. We are about going in there. You will see, even on the floor, we have mattresses with patients, nursing mothers, pregnant women on the floor with their babies.
Let's go see them and find out how difficult the situation is here at the 37 military hospital. We're inside the maternity ward right now, and as you would find, there are pregnant women who are here to deliver, but because there are no spaces, what you find here are mattresses on the floor and mothers patiently waiting to deliver. Well, I think this has already delivered and the baby is next to her. I don't know if she'll be in a position to speak to us, you know, about the conditions around. Madam, good morning to you.
Morning.
Na etisiano pe.
Pacha nyame ado me hoye.
Me hu se waba be wo e wo 37 na oba hada ben.
Me ba na nopa 9:30 to 10.
Na oba e ha na wada.
Me pacha ai.
From ha.
Me pacha ai.
E di ma.
E di ma me awowom. Nti ema ya hunye e fine. And so I'm say ya woman nti ye twen na kopem se nyame be hye aso.
Nanka enye strike anka henanka obako wo bai.
Enye strike ya kamewo Kaneshi Polyclinic. And so I'm say doctor ni wonti. Ye mbra pacha. Ti esra omunya ye mwa.
Okay. So this is a mother who's just delivered, came here yesterday, and fortunately she's been able to have the child and she's safe and sound. The only worry is that where she sleeps makes it difficult for her to survive. She says that it's pretty cold, and as you would imagine for a newly born like this, the conditions are not suitable. She's hoping to get discharged today to go and continue with her life. Ordinarily she will have gone to the Kaneshi Polyclinic, and that's where she will have gone to deliver this baby, but she went there and was told, well, sorry, there are no doctors around, and so she had to find her way here with the pregnancy, hopeful of having the baby. Usually they should be on beds waiting. I see them, most of them here in the corridor on mattresses. Is it good for their health?
The risk of infection is increased because they are on the floors. So ideally, we wouldn't want them to be on the floors. But we are in a dangerous situation now, so that's why we are contending with.
And how do you contain the risk factor in there?
Well, by giving them prophylactic antibiotics for those that we can. But obviously, they are still exposed to a lot of risk because of the situation.
Amos, good morning.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
Amos, how old are you?
I'm 7 years old.
7.
Yes.
Do you know what's wrong with you? For which reason you're here?
Yes.
What's wrong with you?
My heart is paining me.
Sorry. When did you come here?
I come here yesterday.
And are you feeling better? Where did you come from?
I come from Comets.
Ordinarily, is this where you come to?
Is that?
When you are sick, is it 37 that you come to?
Yes.
37. And are you getting the best of care?
Yes.
Okay. I know you're in a lot of pain, so I won't let you talk for too long. I will pray that you get well and your heart becomes better. So we're now at the medical emergency unit of the 37 Military Hospital, one of the critical areas where healthcare is prime at this facility. Let's find out how things are looking in here as well. Okay, we can speak to the principal nursing officer here at the emergency unit. Good morning to you, madam. Your name?
Good morning. My name is Merido.
Merido.
Yeah. So far, since last week, the place has been really packed up. Yesterday was really very difficult. If you were to be here yesterday, you wouldn't have even get a place to stand. The place was really tough. But with the aid of our commander, he came in and we were able to sort out, and the situation was really put into good condition. People that need not to die, you see them going down.
Did you see people die yesterday?
Yeah, we had few.
How many?
Well, yesterday it was about 3.
3 people died?
Yeah.
How come you are here because there's a strike? Oh. Very sad situation there, right? Doctors are still on strike, and the Health Minister, Alex Segbafia, has added his voice to numerous appeals for the doctors to return to work. Our reporter Matilda Bemega was on a tour with him earlier today.
What my appeal is that people, except when they are booked in for Kolebu, should be alive to the fact that we also have quasi-government hospitals, which we call the Allied Health Group, Coco Clinic, SNIT, VRA hospitals. All these are hospitals where the doctors are not on strike. We also have the SHAG hospitals, who are the Catholic hospitals, and the Christian hospitals. They are also not on strike. So we are trying to ensure that the referrals go to fully manned hospitals that can actually take the load. Because as I said earlier, a strike doesn't mean that people can suspend sickness. So where are all these people? And they're actually going out to other hospitals where they can be dealt with. We have to actually send the message that it is not only 37 and Police Hospital that have the facilities. Other hospitals have the facilities. Other hospitals, as I've said, take the National Health Insurance card. So except it's a dire emergency or the issue is one that is of a magnitude, then you go to 37 or Police Hospital. And having said that, the first port of call is to go to the nearest available hospital or clinic that can look to you. And if there's a need for referral, there will be referrals. The ambulance service is stretched and is working at a maximum capacity, and they are ferrying a lot of these referrals to those hospitals that I have mentioned. So in terms of contingencies, these are things that are ongoing at the moment and will continue to do so. The optimum position is for the doctors to come back. And so once again, I reiterate my appeal. And I say this not to infuriate anybody, but to state that there are deeper pictures or issues involved here. This strike is not legal, so it should not be on.
So the health minister shares the same view with the president, who is saying that the doctor strike is illegal. But let's go back to 37 Military Hospital now and speak to the administrator there, Major General Ebenezer Tando. Good evening, sir, and we're grateful that you could join us.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We are told that the hello, Major. Can you hear me, sir?
You are very faint.
Okay, I'll raise my voice a little bit and see if you can hear me.
Very faint.
Very faint, right. I will try and re-establish contact. Maybe if you could reposition yourself, we can hear you. But let me still try. We're told that the 37 Military Hospital is under pressure. Really, you have reached your elastic limit and you can't cope anymore. What can you tell us about measures the hospital is taking to ensure that although you have reached your limit, you can still withstand it a little bit longer?
Let me, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Let me, first of all, correct this impression or this assertion, whichever is appropriate, that the hospital has never come out to say that we cannot cope. We have said at any point in time that we cannot cope. The thing is, I said our policy is said that we don't turn away any patient. With whoever reports to the hospital, we take care, we take the patient in. And our medical personnel, the doctors, nurses, the clinicians, they assess the patient's condition. So those that come, report at our emergencies, they are assessed between 24 to 72 hours. And depending on their condition, they are stabilized. And when they are stabilized, they are checked whether they could continue on outpatient basis. And those that require admissions, we make arrangement to admit them.
Right. So, I mean, I get the picture you're painting, but we visited the hospital and, of course, we had a chat with you earlier. What we see suggests to us that the hospital is overstretched. For example, people are receiving treatment while still lying on the floor. So this is not a matter of your inability to cope. I agree, you are saying you are coping, all right, but it's clear that you still need hand. You still need something to be done to ease you a little of the pressure that you are under.
You see, on that issue, yes, we still need assistance in the form of logistics, medical supplies, mattresses, beds, because we are overstretched. We are ready to take the challenge, but without this logistics support, because we will soon run out of our stock. So as it happened during the June 3rd train disaster, and from various sources, assistance came in for us to hold on the fort. We are also calling on stakeholders, well-wishers, organizations, individuals, groups of, to come in to also assist in terms of this logistics, medical supplies, and other things possible for us to also, take care of those who come in.
Right, Major Tando, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. Major Tando is administrator at the 37 Military Hospital, where we have reports that they are under pressure. They are feeling the pinch of the overwhelming numbers of patients who are being turned away from Kolibu Teaching Hospital and other government hospitals to the place. Now, the Director of Medical Services at the Police Hospital, COP, Seidu Muhammadu Zakaria, also spoke to Joy News about the situation there.
You can see the corridors are full of patients on camp beds, so a lot of admissions. The maternity, for instance, they admitted 62. This will normally take only 22 beds. So this is what we are doing. We've also asked some nurses who have finished their training and are waiting to be engaged to help us. We have a number of yes, so what do you call it? We've called some nurses, young nurses who have finished their training, and they have volunteered to work for us. So this is another thing that is helping us cope. You could hear me at the maternity. Some of the midwives are working 12 hours instead of the 8-hour shifts, and the maternity sister is virtually there 24 hours. Every time I close at 6, she's there, and when I come back in the evening, she's there. You know, so people are working around the clock.
So, whilst at it, I must tell you that the government has written to the Ghana Medical Association to make proposals to review some of the demands that are being made by the Ghana Medical Association. And then, so I have a long list of points that the ministry has raised. The Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, as well as the Ministry of Trade, have raised over the matter. Meanwhile, I must tell you that the president today, speaking on an Accra-based radio station, reminded the doctors that their strike is illegal and is actually ordering them to return to work. Let's hear excerpts of that, and then we'll get onto the telephone lines for some analysis.
Nobody must die because of an illegal strike. The strike is illegal, absolutely illegal. Let's look at the factors. Doctors ask for conditions of service. Of course, all workers deserve conditions of service. It's not like it existed and we took it away. It's the first time it's being introduced. It takes a process of negotiation to put those conditions of service in place. Even before the negotiation has ended, the GMA has taken several months to draw up their conditions of service. And then they give it to government and say, here are our demands for conditions of service. We give you up to 29th. If you don't grant it, we're going on strike. And they start a strike. Even when negotiations are taking place, the labor law says that nobody should negotiate under duress. And that is what has led us to where we've always come back to. Somebody says, oh, doctors, just give it to them. But their linkages have come to learn in the whole relativity of our pay structure. Doctors are linked to health workers, and it's not on doctors alone who are in the business of giving health to people. You have the nurses, you have the midwives, you have the x-ray technicians, you have the laboratory technicians, you have the pharmacists, you even have the cleaners. When blood drops on the ground, that cleaner who takes the mop and knows how to disinfect it and clean it in a safe manner is contributing to healthcare. We cannot single out one group of the health workers and accede to those demands. Then what of the midwives? What of the pharmacists? What of the cleaners? What of the other people? And then even when you get out of healthcare, what of the engineers? What of the architects? And so it's not as simple as it is. And somebody says, oh, because doctors are special, given to them. But others, it's not about 2,800 doctors. It's about another 5,900 and something who are waiting to see what the linkages are and say, okay, you give doctors this, all right, we too are demanding this. And they can also go on strike.
But people are dying, Your Excellency.
We're taking remedial action. We're asking the doctors to go back. And I'm saying they should go back while we continue the negotiating. I think that's the only fitting.
So you've never been, government has not been serious with them all this while.
Why hasn't government been serious with them? It's not like we're not paying their salaries. We're paying their salaries and we're paying their allowances. This is not about negotiating their salaries and allowances. This is about negotiating their conditions of service that has not existed before. This is not about their conditions of service that has not existed before. It's new. Your salaries are being paid, your allowances are being paid as has been negotiated on the single spine. Additional duty hours. On some of those things, you're saying we should increase astronomically what you get. But government can give you what it has. We went to Parliament, we approved a budget, we said we're going to spend this amount on wages and salaries. If we go above that, and other agencies and other professions come and make their demands, and we go above what we budgeted for wages and salaries,
they're saying now we have demands for 2016, not really for 2015.
So why are you on strike now?
Because the budget will be prepared within 2015 and presented to Parliament.
The budget is going to be presented at the end of November. We're only in August. And so people must die until the budget is presented. It doesn't make sense. And the point is, yes, if negotiation takes place, and as I speak, negotiation on category 2 and 3 allowances are taking place at the public joint negotiating team. And if they reach agreement, it will be factored into the budget for 2016. But nobody has gone on strike because of category 2 and 3 allowances. And so why should we go on strike, because of conditions of service? It's not like we're not paying your salaries. Every 25th you go, your salary is there, allowances. It's not the same in other countries.
Right. Obviously, the president sounds pretty frustrated about the situation with the doctors. And like I mentioned earlier, the government has responded to the proposals made by the Ghana Medical Association in a letter signed by Honorable Kesil Atufosun, Deputy Finance Minister, and the lead government negotiator, George Smith-Graham, who is the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages Commission. A couple of points have been raised. If you look at page 2 of that document, government has indicated, for example, that the accommodation allowance, of which the doctors demanded 40% of basic salary, should be reduced, or government is referring to a category allowance that is applicable to directors in the public service, directors and above in the public service. And government is saying that it will maintain the current rate of 20% basic salary in lieu of accommodation. And then it goes on, the doctors were asking for fuel allowances in a listed category in which they wanted 100 gallons, 90 gallons and 80 gallons for the different categories. But the government in that response is saying that it can offer senior specialists to consultants 50 gallons per month and principal medical officers to specialists 40 gallons per month. And the house officers also get 30 gallons per month. So there being a tall list of reviews that have been done by government, and already in a letter dated August 7th has been presented to the Ghana Medical Association. The association, for example, asked for purchase of publication journals and things. It wanted 30% of basic salary and all. So let's get onto the telephone lines really and speak to Chairman of the Coalition of NGOs on Health, Gabriel Benaku, who is joining us on telephone. Mr. Benaku, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
We've been back and forth on this matter. It's almost entering the third week. Doctors still insist on being on strike. The president is saying their continued stay at home is illegal. There being calls for them to return to work. Ochehine has added his voice to the call. The president himself has added his voice, actually calling more like ordering them to return to work and perhaps save lives. Now, what we have in our hand is a document which was written by the Deputy Finance Minister and lead negotiator Smith Graham for the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, in which government has responded, more like responded to the proposals put forward by the Ghana Medical Association. Do you think, under the circumstances, the gestures we are receiving from government, a response to the proposals, calls for doctors to return to work, and the pressure that we see being mounted on quasi-government hospitals, do you think it's still fair for doctors to remain on strike?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners and Ghanaians. I think the coalition has always made our point very clear on the matter that this issue has existed for long, and it is His Excellency John Dramani's time that he needs to really show that he can deal with this issue once and for all. And we encourage him to go ahead, do that with his men. But in negotiation and mediation, you are not supposed to show a winning point from your side.
That's right.
You are supposed to show neutrality, safe environment, and a commitment.
But Mr. Banaku, do you see that both government and the doctors have shown this neutrality? Well, I think we've lost Banaku, and on that note, we should be wrapping up. So if you joined us, I must say that the situation with the doctors on strike is becoming a problem, as quasi-government institutions who are receiving patients that are being turned away from government hospitals are feeling the pressure. 37 military hospital, for example, is feeling pinched as patients have to receive medical treatment on the bare floor because the hospital does not have any more beds. We've spoken to the administrator there, who is appealing for more logistics so that they can continue saving lives. At the same time, the president says the doctors continue to stay at home and on strike is illegal. My name is Stephen Enti. That's where we draw the curtains. We'll be back with Joe News Interactive. Stay with us.